Guess who's back? Back again. Mick is back. Tell a friend. Mick is back. Mick is back. Mick is back. Mick is back. All right, lads. Welcome back to me podcast. Cheaper Than Therapy. Mick Thomas here. How are you? Hope you're doing in a world that's burning down around us, crumbling to the ground. I hope you're fine. I hope you're well. Thank you. Thank you so much for liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting. I'm assuming I got a lot of red dots. You know those things that give you anxiety if you haven't. For some people, they give you anxiety if you haven't checked your haven't opened an email, haven't opened a text message. Someone sent me a message on Twitter. That kind of red dot. I've got tons of them because I've still been off social media for a while. So I just see tons of them, and I just don't want to, just to let you know. Like, I'm sorry, I'm half distracted. I'm looking at the window at my cat hunting a bird. It's fucking fascinating. But my cat sadly has a bell on, which is, I guess, is like a big giveaway. So anyway, but yeah, so I've got this red dot thing on my, the phone. So after my podcast with Mr. Paul Verzi, a lot of those dots came through, so I don't know if people were calling and say how much they loved it, new followers, new subscribers. I don't know. I haven't checked them out. You could just call and say, hey man, that was a shit podcast. But I enjoyed myself. However, so I'm back in a few different ways. Still off social media for a while. I'm coming back very, very soon to social media. I'm redoing everything. And the reason why I say I'm back is I did stand-up. I got back up on stage, and I'll talk about that in a moment, but I am trying to, I did take a break from social media. I'm going to start posting a lot more of content as opposed to just, I look back at my social media and, very LA agent, you got to get out there, and you got to keep the Mick Thomas brand alive. You got to just keep posting, and who cares if the content is funny, just as long as there's content. Just keep it moving. Just put some silly stuff up there for your fans. And speaking of your fans, I think you could be the next Chris D'Elia. You just got to get rid of all your fans who are 30 and over. I understand that they relate to you because they have kids and whatever, but you want to get those 15-year-olds on your Snapchat, and kind of arrange for them to come meet you in hotels. We'll iron out the details. But, we're not about content. We're more about just keeping the algorithm happy. And, so call me Hollywood. So it's just shit like that. But I got some stuff coming up. I'm going to start posting stand-up because I never posted stand-up on my on many pages because when I started comedy here, I started under the regime of senior comics who are very, very, very good friends to this day. Very always they took me under their wing and gave me advice. And one of the piece of advice that I followed was don't post your stand-up online. Don't post it online. You'll burn the material and whatnot. But I kind of, as time goes on, and, I've worked with people like Andrew Schultz, Sam Morelli, and Mike Cannon, and, of course, Paul Verzi. Like, all these guys, they're putting content out there constantly. And that's what I'm going to do now. That's where I'm going to start posting that. And I also have, I'm not political in any way whatsoever, but I do have opinions because I'm not into politics. People on the left, people on the right, you're all fucking insane. You waste a whole lot of time arguing over nothing. Can you believe this guy did this? Can you believe they did that? So I'm gonna I'm staying off, but I do have funny things, funny takes on stuff, and I'm gonna put a weekly show out on Instagram, on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, because my YouTube channel is just, hey, here's Mick Thomas climbing a mountain in Ireland, and all my episodes, of course, of Cheaper Than Therapy are up there. For Nana, you want to show Nana if they don't understand, she doesn't understand podcasts or Spotify or Podbean or other places where you can get Cheaper Than Therapy. I am so I'm going to start putting a weekly show up, especially me behind a desk, green screen behind me, and it's like going to be about a 5-minute just rant of like, hey, here's what's going on in the week, here's what happened this week, and here's going to be my take on it. It's not going to be, there are going to be some political stuff in there, but I'm not picking a side. You won't be able to guess, oh, he's a lefty, he's definitely a righty. So I'm going to post, I'm going to get that up and running, and I'm going to start posting more stand-up online, just for you guys to enjoy, just to give back to the Mick Thomas community, to keep the agents in LA happy. So I got back up on stage, which I was fucking ecstatic about. Let me tell you what happened. Governor's Comedy Club, as you know, Governors on Long Island own three fantastic clubs. Of course, Governors in Levittown, McGuire's, probably one of my favorite clubs in the world, in Bohemia, Long Island, and of course the Brokerage in Belmore, Long Island. And I'm big fans of the clubs, and so what they did is they built a patio. Now, I've seen outdoor... Look, I've been asked to do shows before on Zoom. Not my cup of tea. It's not for me. No disrespect to anybody that does Zoom. There's nothing wrong with you doing it or anyone else doing it. For me, it's not a good fit, because I'll tell you why. Because to me, it's a connection. From my stand-up, I talk to the audience, and I get instant feedback if they're not laughing. Because when you're outside, you just see people smiling and nodding. Like I've done it before, where I've tried to speak a little Spanish to a Spanish person, and I would catch myself, like, when they talk, and I just smile and nod, like, yeah, I guess I did say the right thing, right? Or you would see that the other way around. When I moved here 15 years ago, I used to work with Bank of America. I worked in a predominantly Spanish neighborhood, and I just remember, some senior Hispanic people coming in, and they had more Spanish than they had more English than I had Spanish. So, of course, I'm not making fun of them, but I would say something in my terrible Bog Ireland accent, which I hadn't started to just start to wear down at the moment. So I would just say something really fast in Irish, in an Irish accent, and they would just smile and nod too. And that's the kind of response you get when you do comedy, let's say, outside or on Zoom. And I was very skeptical of comedy outside, because I say something, I get laughed back. Now the energy is a certain way. Because the energy is here, I can take the joke over here now. But the energy is down, so now I gotta twist it back this way, or the energy is too high, right? But I can't get that unless I speak, unless I'm physically in front of a live studio audience, and in front of a live audience. But if you were outside, that laughter just goes up into the goes up into the sky, and you never hear it. You just see people smiling and nodding. So that's kind of difficult to gauge. So I was kind of curious when Governors put a patio room outside, and they roofed it in, of course. The staff come out, they wear masks. The customers have tables of 4, right? So you can't just go, here's a couple, and oh, look, another couple. Let's just go you have to arrive as a group of 4. That was the stipulation that Governors have. So I and then they have you arrive with a mask on, and then you perform on stage without a mask. The stage is away, but away from the front row. So there's plenty of social distancing. So I think it only seats 75. So on the Thursday night, which is funny, was the day I recorded the Paul Verzi episode. Now, if you remember that episode, Paul Verzi was the guinea pig in my mind. I was like, fuck. He went out to Arizona, and I was curious, right? You heard on the podcast, what was it like? Were you rusty? Did you forget your jokes? Was your timing off? How were the audience? Do you do COVID material? Are the audience sick of COVID material? So I watched on that night, after I got off the phone with Verzi, after I got off the podcast, I saw Governors were doing this, and on the show are 2 of my dear friends, funny comedians, people I respect their opinion, which are Kevin Downey Jr. and, of course, the great Joey Cola. Dear friends of mine. And I called them up and I go, lads, what's it like? And they go, Mick, it's the next best thing to normal. Go do it. Get back out. Just get on stage. You will feel fucking great. So I reach out to the owner, James. James is one of the owners of the Governors, and I text him and go, "All right, mate, any chance I could?" And he go, "Mick, give me a call." We speak on the phone. He goes, "Come on down. I want you to close out the show. Not headline, close it, because it's just a Friday night. They're not putting the name over the marquee." And he says, "Come on down, and you can close it out." Now, closing the spot of a Friday is like 45 minutes, so I kind of got nervous. I hung up the phone with him and I got nervous. All right, 45 minutes. Same questions I was asking Verzi. Do you do COVID material? Right? People are fucking sick of COVID material, right? They've lived their everyone's sick of COVID. They're in the middle of COVID. Sick of it, right? Do I forget? I don't do topical, so I don't have to worry about anything, really, in relation to Black Lives Matter and that kind of stuff. Not that I would, mock it, of course. It's because, whatever side of that argument you're on, I just didn't want to talk about it because it's pretty much political material, and I didn't want to upset anybody. So I was like, okay, what do I do? What? So I got nervous. Will I forget my act? Is my timing off? Am I going to be so fucking rusty? So I got nervous during the day, which was nice. It was nice to feel nervous again because being a fighter kind of, I don't really get nervous before I go on stage anymore, and that's not out of cause of confidence or anything like that. It's just because I just love it so much, and the only and I used to be a fighter, and I got fucking the shit beat out of me in front of crowds of people, and it's always had that argument. If nobody laughs at a joke, who gives a fuck? It's not, nobody dies, right? So it never bothered me. The only time I got nervous going on stage was when if somebody put a lot of zeros on the check of the show I was doing, and then you turn up to do a show and it's kind of like all right, well, fuck, I want to earn this money. I don't want to bomb, because then they're going to say, hey, we just paid you all these fucking zeros. Why are you not why are you distractions? Why are you not you fucking bombed? So I kind of did. So I don't really get nervous on stage, but I was nervous all day. And then once I got in the car and started driving to Levittown, all the nerves went away. They went away because it was like I'm back to work. Like, even the journey for me to a club, I start working, right? I'm in my head. I'm like, all right, remember, you got a new bit you're going to work out. Hopefully this works out. And, and I was genuinely excited. I pull up to the club and I walk in there and there's like 4 people. I'm like, oh, fuck me. Like, this is going to be tough to be back now. There's only 4 people. They're supposed to seat 75. So I immediately walk up and you see people, hello, how are you? You can't hug, right? Because that's the rule. And I'm a hugger with all my comedy friends. And you just couldn't do that, which was fine. But it was nice to see them. The security guard, Ozzy, we had a nice chat. We caught up, right? And then all of a sudden, I go, how many tickets do we have tonight? And he goes, no, we're pretty much sold out. And we were pretty much sold out. I think we were sold out, actually. So I go backstage. They have a green room and everything, an outside green room. And I look up, Tim Gage, the guy one of the guys I respect and love, and he's fucking hilarious, and he was there. And I'm like, all right, now I can really relax. My friend is here, and he goes up before me. He gets it, he really gets it, and he's going to be a great Gage because he's a veteran. Gage, no pun intended. Tim Gage is a veteran, so however he does, is going to be an indication on how I'm going to do. So I could hear everything from the green room, and I go over my notes. I got my head down. I didn't really go over my notes as such. I just wrote out a set list. I'm going to talk about this, and I wrote out a list of the stuff I'm going to talk about. So then the MC brings me up. It's whatever. I was going to talk, shit, but I'm not going to. The MC brings me up, and I get on stage, and the audience were fucking, from the second I got up on stage, the audience were just right, like they were right there. I addressed it. I addressed the situation of the COVID, and here we are, and what I'm doing. Up front, that was the first thing to do, was to address it. Hang on a second. Serious, fuck off. Sorry. Kids annoy me. You know, so I addressed it. I addressed the situation and about, you know, the mask or whatever. You know, just I think I opened up with a simple joke about COVID, and then I was off. I was off to the races, and I did one joke about the Black Lives Matter. Respectfully, of course, it was just more of a neutral joke. And it was after that I went straight into material. I didn't have to, you know, and I ended up doing 55 minutes on stage. I recorded the whole set, audio-wise, and it was just great. It was great to be back on stage. One joke I messed up, but I saved it. You know, I got a nice save. Keeper! Say that in Ireland when you're a goalie. You know, and I was able to save it. And from start to finish, man, I think the crowd were just appreciative to be out there too, you know. The crowd were just so ecstatic to be outside. And you know, and just people that I hadn't seen in a while. When I used to have an old podcast back in the day, my friend Dom showed up. And just to hang out with him, you know, even after the show, just to sit down and, you know, and I had that adrenaline of, you know, the same adrenaline that a lot of comics turn to fucking drugs and hookers for, is that you come off stage with this adrenaline rush and then you go back to a hotel and it's dead. You know, you don't know how to get that adrenaline back again, so you kind of just turn it all off, right? You turn off all the you go straight to fucking drugs because you don't know how all of a sudden the adrenaline hits a brick wall. So, but I didn't care, you know. I was just so glad to be back on stage again. And the only thing now, it's like, all right, when the fuck do I go back again? I'll tell you when. Tonight is Thursday. This is released on a Thursday. I'm going back again tonight to Governors. I don't know how much time I'm doing. I don't know what spot I'm doing. I might be closing the show. I might not. I don't know anything about it. All I know is I'm going back to the same room. So if this is Thursday you're listening to, come on down. Come on down. It's just nice to get back out again. Nice to be around comedy. Definitely swing by Governors again tonight. And that's where I'm going to be. Then I get messages from Uncle Vinny's Comedy Club. They're open up again. I'm going to start heading back down to Jersey. I'm going to start going to Bridgeport, Connecticut again. It's just nice to kind of get, you know, and I've worked out this new plan where I can start going on the road more. You know, I can start going out to states that I don't normally get to visit because I like the tri-state. You know, I kind of stay there. Why travel so far, you know, to get the same job done? But now I'm working it out where I can now just travel to all the places. I can go back to South Carolina, which I'm working on, over to Texas, Arizona. Right? Mick Thomas is going on the old road. Right? And then all the new content coming out. And I do have a goal which is set, and I can share it, because at the end of the year I'm hoping to record. So I'm not going to be running a lot of, if for those of you coming out that haven't seen me in a while, there'll be one or two new bits. But when I go out now, I'm running my hour, because at the end of the year I want to record my hour special. And it's going to be done big. It's not just going to be let me put up a recorder in a room and sell a fucking CD after show. It's going to be big. So that's what I'm focusing on right now, is getting that hour sharp in sets of 15 to 20 minutes, however long I'm going to do it. And then I'm in talks with the comic strip, and maybe we're going to record it there. Haven't decided yet. I would like to do it there because the energy at the comic strip when it's full. So I'm hoping by the end of the year, clubs, you know, the social distancing will go away and they'll start, you know, packing it out. I got to feel it out. But my goal is to do at the end of the year, depending on, you know, if it's half full, you know, maybe that might not be the atmosphere that I want for the show, for my hour special. It may not be, you know, that might not be the right energy. So I might have to hold off into, you know, maybe into next year. And they go, all right, well, February is when it goes back to normal. So I'm not sure. I'm really not sure yet. But yeah, so I'm excited about a lot of things coming along. So like I said, I'm back from, you know, a stand-up point of view, new content coming on my social media. I'm not going to hang out on social media, by the way. I'm not going to hang out there anymore because it's fucking negative. It's nasty. I just can't do it. It wastes my time. And I'm excited going forward, lads. I'm excited going forward. So I appreciate all your support, your comments, your concerns, for sharing this podcast. My numbers are through the roof, a lot more than and I have all you guys to thank for that. So I appreciate it. In the top 5 in Sweden, right? In the top 5 comedy podcasts in Sweden, huge there. Huge in Taiwan. Thank you all. France are loving Mick Thomas over there. So I appreciate it. I appreciate all the comments and everything you've done, and the shares and the likes. And I'm enjoying myself again. It's been a while, but I'm really enjoying myself, and I want to thank you all for doing it. So any comments, concerns, send them to my Instagram. I might not get to them for another week or so, but I'll be back, and it's nice to be back again as a stand-up. And lads, take care of yourselves. I'll continue to have a few guests between now and then, and I hope you're staying healthy. As always, wash yourselves, you dirty fuckers. Take care of yourselves. Good luck to you.